Hi, I'm Suji. Welcome to Exploring VRoid Studio. Thank you for being here. Let's begin. We'll start at the beginning. This is what it looks like when it launches. Just for you, I'll set the 3D preview quality to high. The language will remain English. Now, new avatar. Both female and male options are available. I'll pick a female. For this video, we'll be exploring the Face Editor tab. The Design tab contains the morph parameters you see here on the right. We'll explore those in just a moment. The Texture tab grants you access to various texture features, including the ability to draw or import your own. We'll return here later in the video. Timestamp in the description if you wish to skip ahead. Okay, back to the Design tab. All lists everything contained within each of the options listed below it. As you can see, changing the selection on the left changes the available parameters on the right. Quickly, 3D window navigation. Middle click to pan, scroll wheel to zoom, right click to rotate. Now, we'll start with eyes and work our way down the list. Eye position downward, eye position upward, eyes proximity, eyes distance, eye width, eye narrowness, eye height, eye shortness, iris width, iris narrowness, iris height, iris shortness, gaze upward, gaze downward, gaze inside, gaze outside. Shape of eyes. Outer eye slant downward, outer eye slant upward, upper eyelid down, lower eyelid lift, inner eye slant downward, inner eye slant upward. Eyebrows. Frowned eyebrows, slanted eyebrows. Eyebrow position, eyebrow position upward. Eyebrows proximity, eyebrows distance. Nose. Nose position downward, nose position upward. Mouth. Mouth position downward, mouth position upward. Mouth narrowness, mouth width. Ears. Ear volume, ear smallness. Face contours. Faceline position, face line position upward, chin position downward, chin roundness, head top position, head top position upward. While these parameters are limited by their sliders, many, though not all, of them can be manually adjusted for more extreme results, like so, and Ctrl-Z to undo. On to the Textures tab. Similar to the Design tab in a running theme in this software, changing your selection here will change the available options elsewhere. In this case, the changes occur here on the right, where the 2D texture is displayed for the selected part of the model. But let's focus on these layer options here on the left for a moment. I'm going to use the face skin material for this exploration as it's easier to see changes. These buttons reorder the layers, up and down, and this one adds a new layer. Right-click on a layer for a context menu. Toggle visibility, toggle alpha lock. This blocks access to the transparent areas of a texture when using the texture tools. So, if I toggle this on and draw around the transparent edges of this image, the transparency remains unaffected. I also use it as a way to mark the layer I'm not working on, as there's not yet a way to rename layers. Okay, carrying on. Duplicate, remove, import, export. Each layer has this menu. The available textures are as follows. I'm going to toggle visibility so you can see what's affected on the model. Mouth, where we started. Sclera, the whites of the eyes. Eyeline. Eyelashes. Eyebrows. Irises. As you can see, the pupils are on the same layer in the default image. My personal preference, and a common practice of other VRoid users, is to separate layers for the iris and pupil in the event that there's a desire to do something different with one, but not the other. Eye highlights. And finally, face skin, which also includes the lips, nose, ears, and any other face elements one might want to include. For example, makeup, scars, etc. Side note, if you notice that changes you've made to the 2D texture aren't displaying on the 3D model, don't worry. There are a few easy ways to fix it. The easiest is simply clicking on the offending texture layer. If that doesn't work, selecting a different layer and then selecting the offending layer again should do the trick. Finally, failing that, tab switch. Click on the Design tab. Then click back to the Texture tab. You may need to select the offending layer to get the changes to pop up on the model, but simply changing tabs should have done the trick. Now, moving on to these 4 buttons, select, brush, erase, blur. Brush, erase, and blur can be modified further with the brush properties on the right. Color only applies to the brush tool. You can enter the hex code here, use the eyedropper with this button, which will pick a color from any part of the window, even the program itself, You can also drag around the color box here to change the shade, and drag up and down this bar by left-clicking and dragging up and down the color bar itself, not the black arrows on the sides, to change the color. You can also adjust the RGB sliders by opening this drop-down. Shape. You have 4 options. I find they have more accuracy when used on the 2D texture than the 3D model. Well, depending on the task. More on that in the clothing editor video. I've also heard these are designed to work with pin pressure sensitivity, but don't quote me on that as I haven't had the opportunity to test it yet. Size mapping, UV, and world. This is another one where I don't have as much knowledge as I'd like. I'm uncertain about the difference between the two, so I'll leave it set to UV. If you happen to know, please share it with us in the comments. Brush parameters. Width adjusts the size of the brush, eraser, or blur tool. Opacity adjusts the tool's opacity when used on a texture layer. Layer properties. This opacity slider adjusts the opacity for the entire layer. Composite mode contains a variety of layer blending options. Normal, darken, multiply, color burn, linear burn, darker color, lighten, screen, color dodge. You can also toggle symmetry with this button here. Navigating the texture window. Left click and drag to draw, scroll wheel to zoom in and out, hold shift and left click, right click, or center click, then drag around to pan. I prefer to use middle click, or I'll accidentally draw from time to time when I'm trying to pan. In the 3D window, middle click pans, right click rotates, scroll wheel zooms, and left click utilizes the active tool. Both select and brush to draw, erase to erase, blur to blur. And that's it. We've successfully explored the Face Editor tab in VRoid. In the next episode, the Hair Editor. Thank you for watching. Oh, if you enjoyed this video or found it useful, please click the like button and subscribe for more. Until next time.